Mike Pascal had a recommendation several months ago about saving things from the draw page that I had some doubts about, but we've actually programmed it, and I actually think it's a really good idea. I'll review basically how it works. If I open the image organizer and go to a patient and double click on an image, it comes up in draw, and then typically I'll want to maybe draw on that image using some of the tools, and then I'll want to save that image. But if I'm thinking about my lectures in my library all the time, sometimes I want to save this actually right from the draw page and not have to do it later when I'm in lectures and library. So what Mike's recommendation was he asked, could we save the things that we're drawing on the draw page not only in the patient's record, but also in lectures and library at the same time? And how that will work is you'll simply go into the Save As button. It will come up. You'll put your category in, and that will save it automatically to the patient's record. But on this form, you'll see this category button called Multi. And when you click on it, it comes up with your lecture in library, and you can save simultaneously to any number of lectures or any single lecture or any number of libraries. So if you're putting your lectures together, it's much easier if you already have the drawing there and don't have to draw on it. So I've created two test folders, one test folder in lecture and one test folder in library, and I'll demonstrate how that will work. I'll close the draw page and we'll actually do a query. Let's go up to the filter button and let's uncheck all and go down to, let's do XNav, because we were practicing some XNavs the other day that I know I need to draw on. And I'll just do the lifetime of the patient because there's not that many cases in XNav. I'll apply the filter, and when that comes up, I'll go to all patients, and now these are all of my XNav cases, and this is the case we did the other day. So these are all listed by patient. I can actually filter them by grouped patients, so it lists them by patients. But I can use the taken date because I know we just did this case yesterday. So I go in, here's the case that we did on the cadaver, and I actually want to go into that record. I don't want the image organizer to show all of these cases. I just want to see all of the images that are actually in this one patient record. So to do that, I right-click, and what that will do is it will bring up a second image organizer that's actually in that patient's record. I don't need this anymore, so I'm just going to double-click on that organizer. Now here are all of the images in that patient's record, and I'm going to want to actually draw on these and then save them into a lecture or a library. So let's go ahead. So let's say I want to label this picture. I double-click on it. I bring it into draw. So there's the mesial buccal. There's the distal buccal. And here's the palatal. Now I'm going to create some arrows, maybe change the color, maybe make the arrows just a little bigger. And then I'm going to label them. And I'll label them in yellow, I think. This is the mesial buccal. This is the palatal. And this is the distal buccal. And I'll want to maybe move that a little closer. Now I'm ready to save this to my lecture as well as the patient record. So I go ahead and save it. It is now saved. Then I select multi. And I'll save that into the test folder and into the test folder in the library. And it will save them in the library and lecture. When we go back to the image organizer, here you can see the file has been saved in the patient's record. Now I want to outline in the implant planning software because it's very hard to see here. So I come up to zoom drag, and in the implant planning software, these are very hard to see. So I'll zoom up a little bit. And again, I'll use maybe a little larger line, use my ellipse, and now this will be easier to see if I ever have to give a lecture on it. And then I save that. It saves it. And now I want to save this in the lecture as well, and the library. Now those are saved. And when the image organizer refreshes, you can see that that has been saved. Now let's do this. Let's do a third one just so you get the idea. If I double click on that, bring it into the draw page. And again, here are the access openings, but they're very hard to see. So I'll zoom up on it. And we'll use yellow again, because I'm planning on using this in a lecture. Save that in the patient's record. And then let's save it in lectures and library again, in the test folder. Now let's close the draw page, and let's actually go to our lectures and library. If I go into the lecture, open up my test folder, here are the saved pictures with drawings on them. And if I go to the library, they are there as well. So these are available for your library and your lectures while you are from the draw page. So I think it's a very powerful way to work, and you can bring these into the collage and you have them already saved with the drawings.